When the baby screamed for the third time in 10 minutes, every head on the airplane slowly turned toward the man in seat 14C. His face was red, his hands were shaking, and the tiny child pressed against his chest was crying so hard she could barely breathe. Passengers sighed. Some rolled their eyes. One woman even muttered, "Great. This is going to be a long flight." And that's when it happened. When everyone expected the situation to get worse, someone stood up and did the most unexpected thing. Before we jump in, if you love real emotional stories that remind you how good people can be, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Dramaway. Your support helps us share more moments of kindness with the world. The story begins on a quiet Tuesday morning at the Denver airport. Daniel Carter, a 32-year-old single dad, was flying with his 8-month-old daughter, Ava, for the first time. This was supposed to be a hopeful trip, a fresh chapter. He had finally saved enough money to move closer to his sister in North Carolina, where he could get help raising his daughter after losing his wife months earlier. But as soon as the plane took off, everything Daniel had feared started happening. Little Ava hated the pressure in her ears. Her face turned red, her fists curled tight, and she began to scream, a raw, panicked cry that filled the cabin. Daniel tried everything. He rocked her. He whispered to her. He bounced her gently. He tried the bottle, the pacifier, even the small stuffed bunny she usually loved. Nothing worked. And soon the whispers started around him. Seriously, can't he control his kid? This is why babies shouldn't fly. Daniel felt each comment like a punch. He wasn't angry, just exhausted. He hadn't slept more than 3 hours a night since his wife passed, and this move was supposed to make life easier. But right now, it felt like he was failing again. His eyes burned. Tears threatened to spill. Ava's cries grew louder, echoing through the cramped cabin. Daniel mouthed, "I'm sorry," to the passengers around him, even though he wasn't sure they could hear him over the noise. Meanwhile, in seat 12A, a woman named Rachel Morgan glanced back with a soft expression. She was a single mother herself, traveling alone for the first time in years. Her son was finally old enough to stay with his grandparents for a few days, giving her a small break she desperately needed. But as she listened to the baby's cries and saw the distressed father, her heart pulled her out of her seat before she even realized she had stood up. Most people avoided making eye contact with Daniel. Many pressed their earbuds deeper into their ears. But Rachel walked straight down the aisle, her gentle smile cutting through the tension hanging in the air. She stopped beside him. "Hi," she said softly, careful not to startle him. "I'm a mom too. Do you need a hand?" Daniel blinked in surprise. For a second, he felt embarrassed. Had he really reached a point where strangers could see he was drowning? He swallowed hard and whispered, "I don't know what to do. She's never cried like this before." "May I hold her?" Rachel asked. A couple of passengers scoffed. "What? She thinks she's the baby whisperer." But Rachel ignored them completely. She kept her eyes on Daniel, giving him time to decide. His hands trembled as he passed Ava to her. And then something almost magical happened. Rachel held Ava close to her chest, humming softly, swaying in the narrow aisle with the kind of instinct only a parent understands. The baby's cries softened. Then slowed. Then, shockingly, stopped. Within minutes, the tiny girl let out a shuddering breath and rested her head on Rachel's shoulder, completely calm. The entire row went silent. Daniel stared with a mixture of relief and disbelief. His shoulders dropped, finally unclenching after what felt like hours. Rachel gave him a small smile. "Babies can feel their parents' stress," she said quietly. "Sometimes they just need a fresh heartbeat." She didn't return to her seat. Not for a long time. Instead, she walked gently up and down the aisle, keeping Ava comfortable while Daniel wiped his face with his sleeve, emotionally overwhelmed. A flight attendant came over and whispered, "Ma'am, that was really kind." "Thank you." Rachel nodded, brushing her hand over the baby's soft hair. After a while, she returned to Daniel's row and sat in the empty seat beside him. Ava was fast asleep. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded, though his voice cracked when he answered. "I thought everyone hated me." "Not everyone," she said warmly. "Most people just forget what it feels like to struggle." Daniel exhaled deeply, letting the moment sink in. For the first time since he boarded, he didn't feel alone. He looked at this stranger, this woman who had stepped into the discomfort, the noise, the judgment, and offered her a grateful smile. "Thank you," he whispered. "I don't know how to repay you." "Just pay it forward one day," she said. "That's all any of us can do." They talked quietly for the next hour. Rachel learned about his move, his challenges as a single dad, and how much he missed his wife. Daniel learned about her own struggles, years of working 2 jobs, raising her son alone, and the moments she felt invisible. They didn't share everything, just enough to recognize the invisible strength in each other. When the plane finally landed, several passengers watched as Rachel handed Ava back to Daniel, now calm and smiling. A few even murmured apologies under their breath, realizing they had judged too quickly. One older man stopped Rachel and said, "Wish more people were like you." But Rachel simply smiled and replied, "We all have the ability. We just have to choose it." As Daniel gathered his bags, he realized something small but powerful. Kindness didn't always come when life was easy. Sometimes it came in the middle of a crowded plane, wrapped in crying, frustration, and exhaustion, often when someone needed it most. Outside the terminal, before they parted ways, Daniel asked, "Can I keep in touch? I mean, you saved me today." Rachel laughed gently. "You saved yourself. I just held a baby." She gave him her number anyway, more as a reminder that good people still existed in the world. Daniel watched her walk away, his daughter resting peacefully on his shoulder. And in that moment, he promised himself he would never forget what happened on that flight. He would raise his daughter to be kind, brave, and unafraid to help someone, even when others looked away. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, offered at the hardest moment, becomes the thing that changes someone's entire day, or even their entire life. And that day, on that airplane full of weary travelers, one single mother proved exactly that. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us bring more real emotional stories to life. Tell us which country or city you're watching from.